You're listening to the Heroes Power presented by BlizzPro.com. Your host, Balrog fan, Zexorus, and DJ Tyrant. Welcome everyone to episode 81 of the Heroes Power. I am once again DJ Tyrant here hosting with the always awesome crew. We're actually going to skip our weekend games because we have so much to go through, but as always, Balrog fan, how are you doing?
Pretty good today. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm excited to talk about everything we saw at BlizzCon. Zex, how are you?
I'm doing absolutely fantastic. The MVP Black lost, and I'm pretty happy with that.
Yeah, we'll get into that more. We have BlizzCon to talk about, as well as the Heroes Fall Championship. Elena, we got to hang out together and play some Heroes games this weekend. How are you?
We did. I am still tired and recovering from screaming so much at the show all weekend. But it was a good time. I pretty much only played games there, so I don't have much beyond that.
Yeah, it's all good, though. I mean, my voice is a little hoarse, too, from Saturday night cheering for Fnatic there. Carl, how are you?
I'm good. I got my Aggie ring Friday, which you can't see in the light, but I'm happy.
There we go. But yeah, let's break down BlizzCon. We're just going to talk a little bit about Elena and I's experience at BlizzCon. BlizzCon was really awesome for me. It did a little bit more of the press stuff on the side for BlizzPro. So that was a lot of fun, a lot of running around, and there's a lot of really great videos on the BlizzPro YouTube channel of people I interviewed and recaps of stuff. And there will be actually a really great interview coming up that Alebeard and I did with Samwise, who is one of the, I think he might be the longest running artist at Blizzard now, that a couple other people have moved on, but he's the creator of Samuro, Chen, and other really iconic Warcraft characters, and talking to him about Samuro and just what that meant to him to finally release that in Heroes of the Storm was a very fun experience. We only had like 15, 20 minutes with him, but could have talked for hours with that guy. Artifice, how about you? What was your takeaway from BlizzCon? What was your favorite thing?
Oh, BlizzCon. It hit like a truck, really. I wasn't ready for it. I loved it, and I wasn't ready to leave. We had such a good time. We had a good group, mostly strangers, but everybody got along really well. We actually did a lot of the events, more so than the panels, because I like to watch the panels on the recap, with the exception of, the third floor ones. Can't really do that there. But I had a lot of fun playing the demos, but also everybody got a kick out of watching all of the esports live, because it's a totally different feeling when you're watching it virtually than actually there.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I think the real interesting thing was that Game 3 between Fnatic and Ballistics.
I'm not ready to talk about that yet.
I'm
still recovering from that one.
I'm still recovering. I think that's where I basically threw my voice, was during that series, because that was
one of the most
intense.
magnificent games I've ever seen. In anything. Even the murky pick last year, as wonderful as that was not as good as that third game in the finals this year.
Yeah, it was really good, and I have to say I actually rewatched just that game specifically, and I think being there in person was much more different than it was watching it on a stream. Because I lucked out and I had literally a front row spot, and it was just, the energy there was absolutely nuts. And BlizzCon was just incredible this year, and there was a lot of great news for Heroes of the Storm, for the future of it. We're going to try to cover most of it, though, and we'll be getting into, I think the most important panel was the Heroes of the Storm Deep Dive panel. Charlie, I know you got to watch that. What do you think of the information we got about that? I know there was a ton of information, but what specifically stood out to you?
Well, obviously, I mean, you got 2 new heroes coming. That was probably the big announcements. Everybody knew there were going to be some hero announcements, but to get Varian and Ragnaros, very iconic characters. Ragnaros looks very unique. I know we'll be getting into those more. I was really excited to hear that they are going to be continuing with their trend of reworking heroes, especially if anybody's, the PTR notes went up yesterday, and we'll probably talk more about that next week. But, I mean, the changes to Zeratol and Charism, very exciting. The new Brawl map, I mean, I feel like that's all right, I guess. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a Brawl map. Like, it's kind of cool. But
it's one of those, I think Elena can talk about this as well, but I think you have to play it to really appreciate it, because it was a lot of fun. Maybe just because we won on it, but I don't know, it felt really good on the show floor. It feels like a really fun map, and it really changes the experience up from just being like, oh, you're defending 2 cores. Instead of being this asymmetrical map, it's much more dynamic in that regard. What would you say, Artifice?
I think, you know what, I really like that Brawl map, and the thing I like about it is even though you have the 3 options, the ones you get, like, it allows your favorite picks to shine more so than other Brawls do, especially because like you have 2 different versions. You have, if you're defending, there are different ways that you can pair things together, and there are different spots to go to the cannons. But if you're attacking, it's basically just like a waterfall of how much damage can I do without dying to keep them from getting those 5 shots out? Because it only takes 5 shots, but the certain characters can just keep the train rolling. Like, there's nothing you could do to stop, like Tracer. Tracer on that Brawl map is filthy on attack mode.
Tracer is pretty good. Kerrigan was good. Stitches was actually pretty funny to displace people pretty easily, but that's up on the PTR if you actually want to check it out right now. So people didn't have to wait long for the BlizzCon announcement, as well as Varian. And during our talk, kind of pre-show stuff, I know Carl is really looking forward to Varian, especially as Prot Warrior in World of Warcraft. What do you think of his toolkit from what we saw on the Heroes Deep Dive panel?
Me?
Yes.
Yeah, no, I'm like you said, I'm really excited. I've mained a warrior for 6 or 7 years now in World of Warcraft, and he is one, and it's just it looks like a lot of fun. His kit, the 3 ult thing that'll just completely change the way you play him is so cool. It's just like it takes what they wanted to do with Kharazim and like actually does it. As far as like, I mean, I haven't played him, but like reading it, it feels like legitimate. Like he is a tank or he is a damage dealer, and they're both viable. They're both a lot of fun. I'm excited to play him as a tank and ruin melee assassins' days, because that taunt is just so good against people who are diving. And then just mobility and durability, like the parry being such a reflexive kind of thing to add to a hero. It's like you have this tiny window where it's effective, and you can block something really important. You can block, a split second of damage, and you did it. But it can just be like useless. Mm-hmm. And if you're not good with Varian, you don't have what is his W, right? You just have 2 abilities and an ult. So, I'm just so excited to play him. I'm probably gonna just get him to 10 by Wednesday.
Yeah, I mean, I did play him a little bit in the press area. It was only against AI, just so that there wasn't a huge line to be able to play these new heroes. But I found that the taunt works really well against Rhaegar or other kind of heroes, kind of with that mechanic. Because as soon as you pop, if the Rhaegar player goes into wolf form, you can pop the taunt on it, and it Rhaegar has to immediately attack you. It totally dispositions him and stuff. It's really fun, and I'm sure there's a huge room of possibilities. And I think we've already seen on the PTR people really wrecking face with Varian. So check that out if you haven't had a chance to yet. But Zex, how about you? I mean, at the Heroes Deep Dive panel, they kind of hinted at something you've really been kind of beating the drum about, a new skin for Diablo.
Yeah, the Prime. Making sure I'm not on mute first.
You're good.
The Primeval skin for Diablo. That's something I've been kind of. I don't even play Diablo. I just think that should have been the current skin rather than the classic Diablo 1/2 Diablo. But yeah, no, Valerian hit the PCR, and I've messed around with them a bit as well. And like at 20, if you go the assassin route, like his attack speed is absolutely insane. You know, it's just absolutely crazy. And the fact that you can talent into like Muradin's second wind, that's idiotic. You know, things don't go wrong. Like he's gonna be fun to play as. I'm with Carl. I think I'm gonna jump in on him and just go absolutely ham. He looks like he's gonna be an absolute massive amount of fun.
Yeah, for sure. And obviously Ragnaros was talked about as well, revealed during that trailer. I looked over at my girlfriend Heather and I'm like, Ragnaros, because it shows Varian walking out on kind of this lava infested area. And I'm like, that's got to be Ragnaros. And of course it was. So I was super excited. I got to play Ragnaros as well. And he's really fun. And being able to turn into the raid boss version of him is so incredibly satisfying. And
it's amazing.
It's amazing. Yeah, the first time you get a kill with his giant swing, it's like the funniest thing. But he has this meteor skill that's similar to Alarak's kind of positioning skill, where you point where it goes to. So it initially hits the ground there, and then rolls and does additional damage to anything in its path. I found the lava wave heroic to be really really strong. Essentially, you pick a lane that you want to send it down and click on it. It just goes straight from your core down that lane to the enemy core, immediately killing minions. The minions on the way, as well as a lot of damage to heroes. Obviously, I was playing against AI, so I got some fun kills there, but at level 20, you can actually upgrade it to have 2 charges, so the wave push on it is disgusting, and it's going to be fun.
What's the cooldown on it?
It's like 100 seconds at least. It's
Okay.
relatively high.
Yeah,
for
but
heroic.
since when you hit 20, since it has the 2 charges, you can sort of time them out one at a time. It's amazing. That talent is amazing. I don't think it'll last very long as it stands, because I've seen it take like 50% of someone's entire HP. But the way you can time it out to hit people, you can even be sort of next to a lane and aim for the lane that's closest to you. It's a timing thing, because the first time I used it, I was expecting it to cast something where I was, and it doesn't. So you kind of have to wait for it to come from your core, but nobody was paying attention to it, and they kind of thought they could run through the lava, and it didn't work very well in their favor.
Yeah, it definitely. Even Varian though, and we kind of glossed over the fact that he's the first dual role hero. And so I guess we basically got 2 heroes that kind of break the conventions of Heroes of the Storm. Ragnaros with being able to basically become a raid boss, and Varian with the dual spec in there. I don't know. The 2 heroes are really fun to play from what I got. I definitely like Rag a bit more than Varian. But, the future of this game looks really bright. And that was just really the main stage announcements. I want to go into the State of the Game panel, which really broke down kind of the details of the health of the game and how it's going to be in the future. I think what was probably the biggest news, we'll start with the biggest news, is we have Haunted Mines returning now. Yay! The crowd goes wild.
Yay!
Zex, I want to hear your thoughts on this. And what do you think this is going to do for the game itself?
I like the changes that they made to Haunted Mines. I think they're really good.
So what were the changes that they made?
Some of the changes were that now there's 4 entrances to the mines. On top of the boss will spawn in the center instead of that upper right corner. It's a complete rework of how the mine is shaped. They've taken out the siege giants and put in sappers. The night camp has stayed the same. And on top of that, the golem will alternate lanes to where it spawns. So it sounds like they've
Sort of like
taken,
the Infernals or the Immortals.
Well, Immortals push whatever lane is farthest pushed or not as pushed out. Mm-hmm. So theoretically, you could get the Immortals to spawn same lane more than once, but this is it will swap lanes every time. So you're not going to get the potential snowbally, let's end it in 2 golems, before 10 minutes, nonsense that you were before. So I like the changes. I think these changes are really good. They were really needed. I am curious to see how the mine sessions will play out. If you're going to get rewarded by being highly aggressive and invading their side of the mines, because from the way it's set up, it's your half of the mines and their half of the mines, and you fight over the boss. But how hard is it? How hard will it be to what's the word I'm looking for? Invade and take over their side and add to your golem strength. So some people are worried about the mines becoming too passive. I don't think that's going to be the case. I've always seen mines as a highly aggressive map, and I think all these changes were highly needed overall.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think we all agree that we enjoyed the map to a certain degree, and now we're able to enjoy it again, which is really awesome. Carl, quick thoughts on Haunted Mines returning?
I'm just gonna, contrary to your point, I was never a big fan of mines. I think I'm the only one there.
Sadness.
Oh.
Because specialists are so strong, and I don't play specialists. If I'm on damage, I play an actual damage dealer. But I think these changes are good because I think they do kind of mitigate the specialistness of the map. And I don't know. I mean, Willie said it pretty much. I am one of those people who thinks it'll make it too passive early on. But I don't think it'll be awful. I think the map will be more balanced and not as cheesy. So I think the question was brought up last night of will the pros pick it? I think so, and I think it'll be legitimate. More than Braxis. That's the 2-lane one, right? I get those mixed up.
Yeah. Charlie, did you want to talk a little bit more about just the panel as a whole? I know you got to actually cover it for Blizz Pro, so you got to really break it down. What else was really talked about during the State of the Game panel?
Well, it started off pretty retrospective-y, I guess, if that's a word. They kind of look back on what happened over the last year, and some of the stats are a little bit shocking to me. 14 heroes have been added into the game since last BlizzCon, which it's a huge number for 1 year's time, and 4 maps if you include the Lost Cavern, also new. And 19 characters in the game that got major hero or talent rework. So there's been a lot of things that have changed over the last year, and I'm really happy with where the game has ended up. I'm having more fun playing it now than I was last year when I was, eating Tyrande stuns as a solo support and her carrying the team and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So they spent a lot of time talking about a lot of internal data and kind of sharing the stuff that the for sure stuff more, and usually it kind of falls in line of the speculation that is HOTS logs, but it's always nice to hear it straight from their mouth. And they kind of did this graph about the Season 1 distribution of Hero League and how much Hero League has fixed a lot of the problems that were going on between the Hero, the Team League, the Unranked Draft, Unranked Draft's numbers. Oh, there's a lot of numbers there, but overall, the sentiment was pertaining to Hero League. They want to make Diamond League feel a little more exclusive, and they want a few more players to get into Gold League than are right now. So they're going to kind of try and even things out a bit through there. I think it's a good goal to have. You want players to feel like they're progressing, and I know a lot of people feel that are stuck in silver feel like they should be in gold, whether it be through their own fault or other people's fault. They also talked about loss forgiveness, which is kind of a big deal. Nobody likes going into a rank match and somebody disconnecting when the game starts. You probably shouldn't be penalized for that. They realize that, and they're thinking about ways to kind of like give the player loss forgiveness in situations like that, or where you're down a hero for most of the game. Maybe they don't disconnect right away, but 5 minutes in and then they never come back. Things like that. Nothing really concrete in that department. I'd say probably one of the coolest things that I'm pretty excited for is the progression system being changed. What they're going to do is they're going to make it so that, well, they're kind of like right now, after you get to level 10, the rewards are pretty infrequent, and then they're just kind of gold. So they don't really care, or players don't really care too much once they get a character to 10. The rewards are over. So what they're going to do is they're going to uncap both account levels and hero levels. Your account level is going to equal the combined level of all your heroes in your pool. So if you got 20 heroes on level 10 and the rest of them are on 1, you're going to be 200 and something.
Yeah, you actually can see this already in your account, in your profile. You see the total hero level for your account. So that'll be I believe that'll just be your new account level. Yeah. What was interesting was Artifice and I were lining up to play the Blackheart's Battleground, whatever it is. And we were talking to one of the people online. They're all Blizzard people, so it's a Blizzard developer who was signing us up in line. He was talking about how he's really excited about it, and it was interesting to hear just his perspective on it. I think it was a UI UX designer or something like that, and he was like, yeah, it's really exciting because now I'm going to go and level all these like low level heroes so I can up my account level and get that higher and higher. And there's not really a limit to that now, and there'll always be some sort of progression to that, just to kind of show how much you've played, I guess, or how much you've progressed in the game, which is fun.
And there will be rewards. There's going to be more rewards after 10, and they said it's not just going to be gold. They want to do things more than just throwing some gold at you.
Well, it seemed to be favorable when they had that single day stim pack for the event. That seemed to go over well with people.
Yeah, I think stim packs will definitely be level tier rewards. Probably every 10 levels you get like a 1 week stim pack, I'd imagine, maybe. I think this opens up the road for personalized mounts on heroes and personalized portraits and personalized skins that you can get for major landmarks like 50 and 100 even.
Mm-hmm. That was one of the things I liked about Brawls is with the Brawls and your random choices, it also chooses random mounts and skins for you also. That's kind of fun because then you don't have to constantly switch them out every time you do a Brawl.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's nice to see stuff you might have gotten as part of a bundle too that you didn't you don't necessarily play as much.
Speaking of bundles, one of the other things we talked about at the keynote was that they're going to have this cross promotion between Overwatch and Heroes of the Storm, and I can't remember the exact details of it, but I think it's 15 games, and you unlock a Genji skin in Overwatch, and you also unlock a hero or two, and at 30 games you unlock like 5 heroes or something like that, and a high amount of stim packs. I think it was a pretty high amount of days of stim packs. So I'm really excited for that. It should bring some new players into the game, checking it out. Obviously, pairing it up with Overwatch, which is the most popular game for Blizzard right now, should bring a healthy amount of players into the game, and we'll see if some of them stick around.
Yeah. No, I'm hoping for it because they kind of give you that little window too where it's like, oh, you did 15 games? Well, if you stay and do 50 more, you'll get all this stuff as well. Maybe you liked it.
Mm-hmm.
They've always done cross-promotional things, like all the rewards, like even BlizzCon things. It's like you get this in this game and different portrait in that game and a pet and WoW and this and that. So they've always been about that. It was just a matter of time until they did direct crossover rewards.
Yeah, we've had, like the Iron Dire Wolf you got from Draenor and stuff like that. I think this is the first, do something in Heroes, get another game, though.
Hearthstone had one.
Oh, Hearthstone.
And
That's
World
true.
of Warcraft actually had a Wait, no, they did.
Great
Yeah,
Golem.
yeah, the Golem. That's right.
That's
But
true,
those were get your account level to 5,
Yeah.
Mhm.
It was literally go and play a couple AM. And this kind of is play 15 games with a friend. So at least it feels it's a more active.
Yeah, and with the friend is going to hook people, because this game is so much better with people you know.
Especially
5 games solo AI is not the same experience as 15 games with a friend.
Mhm.
And I think that's why they wanted to go away from that, because there were so many people that just did their reward quests in AI, so they don't have to deal with anything else. So they added the stacking friend rewards, and now they added these rewards. It's a different thing to get people to actually, play together. Yeah, maybe.
Hopefully, we'll have to see. I feel like I'm missing something from this panel, or just from what was talked about at BlizzCon General. Okay, I remember. See, now that I said
the first thing you missed was the dance, the slash dance on Varian and Ragnaros. Did you do that?
No, I didn't even know that they had a thing.
Oh, of course they do. You'll find out next week, though.
Okay, well, I guess we won't find out there. The other big thing that was announced a little bit before BlizzCon, we actually got to see it before it was actually launched, and it did launch today, was the Heroes of the Dorm documentary. I'm assuming most of you haven't had a chance to check it out because it just came out today, but it was a lot of fun to see that event once again from a more behind-the-scenes approach, and really seeing a couple of the different players, their personalities, and it was a lot about just how these players had to manage their time and interact with their families and try to get them on board to support them. And obviously, Mike Udall going to be kind of the highlight of the documentary, because that's just kind of the personality he is, and he's really able to light up the screen and excite people. So I'm really excited that it's out for people to watch. It's really good behind the scenes look. And we actually got to interview Akaface and one of the Rosen twins who formed Tespa, which was eventually bought out by Blizzard, obviously, and turned into the Heroes of the Dorm as it is now. So I'm excited for that stuff to come out. Did anybody else watch it yet, or?
No, I've not gotten a chance to watch it. I do plan on watching it, and I still need to know when Michael's going to change frames on his glasses.
Yeah, exactly.
Those frames don't work with his face, and it's driving him bonkers.
I mean, they got Mark Cuban for that and stuff. I want to watch it. I've just been BlizzCon busy, and then
too much stuff.
Playing game a lot. I've just been kind of hyped for the game, so I need to make some time for that documentary though, for sure.
Yeah. Okay. This was another thing that was alluded to at the the Heroes Deep Dive panel about the Amani Warbear that we saw in that trailer.
Well, yeah, the question in the Q&A in the Deep Dive panel, somebody came up and said they noticed, because they showed this overgraph of all the heroes that they had back when they first started making this game. And they had a couple of grayed out heroes, one of them being Varian. And then the first question was, hey, I noticed Zul'jin was in that grayed out area. Is he coming soon too? And I forget who was hosting the deep dive at the moment. His name's escaping me, but he's like, did you see that Armani Warbear in the opening trailer? Pretty cool, huh?
Literally, he just did that, smiled, and dropped the mic.
Right. Yeah, so, I mean, there's no confirmation, but it's about as confirming as you can get. I mean, when it comes out of a developer's mouth like that, they're usually not just saying that to mess with people.
Yeah, confirmed without being confirmed.
Yeah.
It basically means there's a developer either working on him now or he's in the internal build. We don't know exactly when he's coming out.
Yeah, there's no date set obviously, but with something that strong of a hint, you figure he's going to be soon.
TM.
Probably 3 months.
Soon, TM.
I am also devastated that isn't Zenkiki.
Who?
He's this troll druid that you like train, and he turns into like a seal on land in WoW. He's kind of like a goofball. He'll like turn into a seal while you're trying to kill stuff, or moonfire himself, and he's a good guy.
Speaking of goofballs, maybe they'll.
Ran into him.
I think he shows up in the druid order hall, but my druid's only 103, so I'm not sure.
Speaking of silly heroes, maybe they'll eventually get what's his name, the Pandaren cook.
Nomi?
Nomi?
Oh, Nomi.
Wait, there's a panda cook?
Hero.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In World of Warcraft, it's
I don't play World of Warcraft.
it's
like,
basically become a meme of Warcraft.
Yeah.
But
What is his abilities going to be?
I
Like
don't
to
know.
burn
Lots of
people's food and throw it at them?
Pretty much.
His ult is becoming a dreadlord.
Oh my goodness, that's Jaina's ult. She's gonna get reworked, and she's gonna turn into a Dreadlord. Oh man, but
It's still debatable.
What I feel like I'm still missing stuff from BlizzCon. Am I missing anything?
Well, we don't really have any footage of it, but a lot of people really enjoyed the Heroes Comedy Hour with the voice actors reading scripts. That was one of, so far from what I gather from people, one of the best panels that they enjoyed.
Yeah, I went to that 2 years ago, and it's really funny. Basically, they bring up the voice actors from Heroes of the Storm, a good variety of them, and they read. They either vamp on stuff or just like read the scenes from other movies. Like I remember distinctly them reading Star Wars. So like Han Solo was, I think, Stitches or something, and another character from Star Wars was voiced by Gazlo. I mean, it was a blast, and someone was Murky. So, yeah. Try to track that down online. Maybe someone recorded it. Who knows?
I'm hoping somebody did. One of our favorite things is I noticed him again this year, and I was pointing him out to my friends who had never been there. In the Heroes of the Storm demo line, there is a guy named Roy, who any person in line will call out their favorite hero, and he will make up a story on the spot about your favorite hero.
That is awesome, and I missed that, unfortunately, but that's really cool. I wanted to point out another couple things was in the talent contest, a Heroes of the Storm song actually won, and it was really good. It was done by this woman, just did this acoustic song about Heroes of the Storm, and it was really funny. And if you play a lot of Heroes of the Storm, which I imagine you're watching the show, you do, you'll get a laugh out of it. Also, there was a really great Chromie cosplay, and I really enjoyed talking with her. I don't think the video is up just yet, but that'll be up on the BlizzPro YouTube. But, geez, BlizzCon, it was great. There was a lot to do, a lot of hero stuff, and I'm really excited for the future of the game. Let's just go around real quickly. What was your favorite thing about BlizzCon and Heroes, Charlie?
I'll say variant. The possibility of the way a hero can be like multiple classes is just crazy. I can't wait to see how the pros draft with him, if he's going to be used as a first pick to kind of bait out the next two picks from the other team, if he's going to see a lot of bans or not. He's an interesting dynamic. He's going to be a fun character, and if he's competent at both doing damage or tanking, if he can do both, well enough to be a threat, he's going to be really hard to draft against, and in the hands of a good player, it could make for some exciting team comps.
Zex? I'm kind of weirded out by Ragnaros right now, because if you remember last week, we were talking about like if Ragnaros is in the game, how would you play him? I was like, well, maybe he becomes your core. I wasn't far off from that.
They actually said they tried that, and it just didn't work, unfortunately.
Yeah, you can't become the core. You can only become keeps and towers and forts.
Still, I wasn't far off from being right. He takes over structures, and that's kind of like seeing them do that kind of gives me hope for seeing like the adjutant in the game at some point, because I think that would be absolutely amazing. You know, other than that, watching Fnatic just roll MVP Black out, just outplaying MVP Black at their own aggression was just amazing to watch.
Yeah, we'll be talking about that in a little bit. Artifice, what was your favorite thing from BlizzCon?
Oh, from BlizzCon itself, being, gotta be honest, being third row outside watching Hodor DJ our party on Friday night. That was my favorite thing. From BlizzCon Heroes of the Storm, it was definitely watching that third match for the finals. We couldn't stand that match. It was so amazing. It was so much fun to watch. It was so exciting. People were just going crazy the whole time. Like, you can't beat something like that.
Yeah, it was incredible to watch. Carl, how about you?
Like Charlie, the thing I was most excited about was Varian. I'm really excited for his kid. I think he's going to bring a lot. He's going to be so much fun to play as a tank, as an assassin. He has 3 unique play styles, which just like for not like it's not even like like, oh, regardless of his talent tree, he has 3 distinct play style defining ultimates, which just like it forces hero diversity like nothing else has ever done, and I'm really excited for that. The most like, or what were you going to say, Charlie?
I was just going to say, they compared him to 6 heroes, all who are good. They said you can play him like Johanna, you can play him like Chen, you can play him like Sonya, you can play him like Zeratul, you can play him like Illidan, you can play him like Artanis. Obviously, the Zeratul one is more of the chase down, burst damage type thing we're talking about, not stealth. But yeah, those are, when you say those 6 heroes, you're like, oh, that's some good choices to have.
Yeah. The most like intriguing data wise, I've been asking for that chart of distributions in Hero League for a year now. So it's good to see, just okay, their system works. It's not exactly where they want it, but it is weighted like other systems where most people are in silver and heavily weighted gold and bronze around it. So like the rank system that everybody wanted is here, right? The pro players can't say, oh, well, everybody's in master, because no, it's actually 1%. And Diamond and Master comprise the top 15%, which is a little bit higher than what they wanted, but it's still the top 15%, So like it hit the milestones they're looking for. It hit the diversity and the differentiation and all of that people needed for Hero League. So maybe finally the NA pros will start playing Hero League again. I don't remember what mechanics are, because NA was embarrassing at BlizzCon.
Yes.
So my favorite would have to be Ragnaros, and with that, let's talk about how embarrassing NA was, because that was just a freaking disaster.
Real quick, we didn't talk about how Team League is changing.
Oh right, yeah. Let's talk about those, Charlie.
Hero League is going to be solo only as kind of a test run moving forward. They're also only going to use anywhere between 6 and 7 maps per month of the season. So in Hero League, there will be the same 6 to 7 maps, and you can only play it solo. The amount of maps, or the maps, will change every month, which equals roughly 3 times a season. The map pool is going to change. And then Team League will all be 2s, groups of 2s, 3s, and 5s. You can't do 4s, obviously, because there's no solo players in Team League. This is being done just to kind of make people who are just focusing on Hero League know what they're getting themselves into, because even though the numbers were small, there is still a slight advantage for people who duo queue versus people who solo queue. And Hero League is going to feel much more like a personal accomplishment. And Team League, the queue times are really long because not a lot of people get 5 people together all the time to play at the same time. It's easy to get 2 or 3, so it's going to really help the queue times on Team Leagues, help people, or help that part of the competitive thing thrive. So I'm pretty excited for those changes.
Yeah, I think we queue together a lot, and just like quick match or whatever, and it's like, most of the time when we get 5, we'll jump on Team League because we like that drafting flexibility, and we like the more competitive team comps and stuff. But it's like, oh, we've got 4, so looks like we're doing quick match. which I guess we still have that problem, but we have like 2 or 3, we can do team league, and so it's just it'll improve like us as a podcast, our player experiences.
Yeah,
I can see. Yeah, definitely.
for sure. So yeah, let's talk about the fall. What was that?
I was just saying, I think everybody has those small groups of friends, and you might be able to get 3 people on, not 5. So this really helps out.
Yeah, for sure. So we'll move on now to the fall championship that was played out at BlizzCon. We had the opening week stuff we talked about last week, but we had the grand finals over the weekend, and North America just didn't show up. So no, don't even need to talk about those games. But Europe, no, I'm serious. But Europe looked really good. So we had in the final playoffs was MVP Black and Fnatic, and we had Dignitas playing Ballistics, and Dignitas they took a game I think off of Ballistics, but other than that it wasn't really a surprise. But holy smokes, Fnatic took this series from MVP Black, and that right from that first game, we knew we were in for one of the best series in Heroes of the Storm. Zach, this is your time to gloat a little bit.
I was right. MVP Black didn't win it. I was wrong that Fnatic didn't win it either, but at least they were in the grand final. That's what you get for gloating all year.
Maybe it was just me, but I feel like there were a lot of risky picks as far as comps go that didn't work out for people, or they just weren't good enough at. You guys heard me raging a little bit about, I forget which number game it was, but the choice of Thrall that missed about half a dozen Thunders in 4 minutes. That's a bad pick if that's how much you're missing.
Yeah, I don't remember. I don't remember.
Hero?
Yeah.
Yeah, Ethereal.
Yeah, because the very next game he played Sonya and absolutely obliterated them. So I don't.
Primarily a Sonya and Leoric player. It was surprising to see him through all there. It was one of those things where you kind of overthink your comp, I think. Like, you put too much stock in the comp and not the individual who's playing him.
Exactly. Like that Hammer Stitches they picked into Tassadar Tracer, which they had used the previous match. Like, can't really use Stitch's hook on an entire comp that's all has escapes, as Carl was saying. He's like, there's nobody they can take down. Everyone can get away.
Yeah, it was an interesting choice to say the least.
Oh, I got so tilted at that game where they kept hooking and trying to blow up Muradin. I was yelling at Charlie, and he was just trying to like take notes and transcribe and be productive, and I was mad.
Yeah, there wasn't. I can't even. I mean, really, that was just bad. It was bad. There was no other way to put it.
Who do you think was the biggest upset?
Fnatic over MVP Black. There's no question.
No question.
Fnatic didn't even win a regional, and they blew up the best team in the world.
Yep.
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
if it went all 5 games, I'd say it was close. But no, the game, like, it was on point shot calling that decided it for Fnatic. They won that through smart play calling. Like those two those two boss calls on Tomb and the other one,
yeah,
like won them the game like hands down. And the fact that they kept up in aggression with MVP Black, and not only were trading favorably the entire time, aside from that boss fight on Tomb, like they just straight up outplayed MVP Black. Like, it was amazing to watch. I mean, yes, congratulations to Carl and Ballistics. But if Ballistics does not repeat as champions, I feel like everyone's going to remember the fall of MVP Black over Ballistics winning BlizzCon.
Yeah, and I think the thing about Fnatic was that MVP Black, you prepare for that series. You prepare for that like it's literally your finals. That's it. Like, they're considered the final boss. In Fnatic beating them, while it absolutely is impressive, I think it just took too much out of them to be able to continue that against Ballistics. Obviously, they had that last win in that game 3, but that was really it. And unfortunately, the series ended on an absolutely terrible game on Towers of Doom.
Yeah, that's they need to figure out a way to never make Towers of the Doom a possible deciding match. Like, it has to be either the first 2. It's so boring to watch somebody go, and they channeled the shrine and GG. Champions.
Yeah, we were there. We're like, we know the game's over. We're expecting the confetti to start shooting out, and it doesn't go off for like 2 minutes.
Right.
So it was a little weird.
It's the shrine. Yeah. It's a lot more exciting to see a core blow up for the final moment of a championship.
I mean, I don't want to forget, please don't heart this, but just everybody did the second Fnatic beat MVP.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were so hyped about PBA.
We were.
And then somebody beat Korea.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it. You know, you can't.
Well, I mean, it didn't help that that PBA got absolutely wrecked by Dignitas.
Yeah, I mean, I was expecting that.
I was hoping it wouldn't have happened, but I knew in my heart that Dignitas was just gonna roll PBA like super hard. Mm-hmm. When you have somebody as good as Bakery, like Bakery wrecked PBA just by doing an ice block. He ice blocked, and it just messed with their head so hard.
That was the first time I've seen an ice block basically.
Team wipe.
Might as well have been an ultimate. Yeah, it was a team wipe ice block ultimate, basically.
Yeah, cool. It was the
best
most
defensive
ridiculous
play I've ever seen in my life. Awesome.
Like, because Bakery was going down. By all rights, he should have died. And he hit that ice block at the perfect moment. And PBA they were like, well, we've got to kill the healer. And the backline just melted because Dignitas just rotated around and wiped the healer out, wiped the backline out, and like, oh, okay, well, we'll just kill the rest of you now. It was the most amazing press of one button I'll ever see in my life.
Yeah, and that was to escape, wasn't it? A Murden hammer?
No, I think it was I want to say Thrall. I want to say Thrall.
Yeah, Thrall. Yeah, I'm looking at it now. It could have been Thrall.
But,
yeah, that was absolutely insane.
Yeah, it was just absolutely idiotic at how just that one defensive maneuver just led to their entire team just getting obliterated. That stuff like that, you would hope stuff like that doesn't happen to your team in front of every single Heroes fan in the world. That play was embarrassing for PBA. Like, I love PBA. I love what they did at BlizzCon again. I hope they stick together. They're gonna do well if they just stick together. That play clowned them.
Well, one of the exciting things about this league coming up in 2017 is that it's going to encourage, like, with the financial incentives, like, you know, your team getting 100K or 20K per person just for qualifying to be in this league and showing up to these matches. It's going to kind of keep these teams together, I think, especially the ones that made it this year, because they're like, all right, guys, we can guarantee that we're going to get paid to do this, and we might as well stick together and try to grow as a group. And who knows, maybe a lucky hero release will go our way and it clicks for someone on our team and suddenly we'll be on top. I mean, that's kind of why Cloud9 disappeared, is a lot of the heroes they were heavily relying on just kind of fell out of the meta, and then they started having problems internally because they weren't winning as much, and then here we are, they're not even at BlizzCon.
I don't know if I said this last week or internally or whatever, but previously in a purely tournament setting, the top 2 teams had stability because they were the ones that were getting paid. Mm-hmm. And everybody else was roster shuffling after every single tournament, swapping people back and forth. Maybe this configuration will work, maybe this configuration will work, and it wasn't working for anybody. And occasionally you'd have an Eventic form where they just take some guys, they start, and they're like, oh, hey, they're good. But most of the time, just nothing's happening. Now we have 8 paid slots. And we have a reason for 8 teams to stay together, to forge synergy, to scrim each other, and like that. I mean, that's going to push the entire Heroes of the Storm scene up. in skill, and I'm really excited for it.
Yeah, I'm really excited for that as well. That's going to be really helpful, and obviously the open scene will really help the scene as well. And I'm really excited for the future of Heroes Esports. I think it's in a pretty good spot right now, and I think 2017 will tell a lot of the future of this game for competitive.
I think Ballistics winning also is a sign of the growth over the last year and the possibilities of next year. That it's not stopping.
Yeah, and they play the game. I mean, their growth is largely due to the fact that they play the game so aggressively at key phases of the game, and they know when to step on the throttle and really push their advantage, and that's just something that I guarantee a lot of these teams are going to go back and go, okay, what did Ballistics do to win all these matches? Because they were basically untouchable the entire way through. They dropped two games the whole time, I believe.
I think so. Yeah,
one to Dig and Fnatic were the only 2 games they lost.
Yeah.
I believe they 2'd everything else.
Yeah, they were just stepping on people, and a lot of that was due to the aggression and the comps they played. They weren't afraid to pigeonhole you. They weren't afraid to show you something and beat you with it, and then let you have it because they have a counter strategy to it. They did that with Tyrael. Yep. It looked like, oh, okay, all we need is Tyrael. We'll get Tyrael. We'll steal Tyrael from them. They won't be able to do anything. They're like, no, here, you can have Tyrael. We'll ban the heroes that we're worried about for this, and we'll just beat up Tyrael. So I think they drafted very smart.
Yeah.
Yeah, they drafted really smart, and I think the other really big thing was this showed that EU is definitely here to stay, and they looked really solid. Obviously, picking both of them hitting top 4 along with Korea, when we kind of expected China to be in that spot as well, and that just didn't happen. I think also as well, to really kind of show the health of Heroes of the Storm is that 2 members of Ballistics, SCSC and Noble S, were a part of Team DK last year, and they didn't even, I think they made top 4, maybe not even top 4. I don't know. They were the only Korean team to qualify at BlizzCon last year, and they were expected to win, and they did not as well. And to see those players be able to respond positively to that adversity and come back and be able to win BlizzCon, I think says a lot about the Heroes of the Storm community right now. And I'm really happy with how 2016 has gone for the scene, and 2017 only looks like it's going to get better.
Yeah. C9 beat them using the strategies that they all despise. Because Cloud9 understands how to break the game better than anybody else. But then they stopped doing that, and the Koreans won because they're just better.
Yeah, they're just mechanically going to be much better, especially when you have 2 former StarCraft pros on your team. That definitely helps a lot. But yeah, any final thoughts on the fall finals at BlizzCon from this weekend before we start closing out the show? And we do have a giveaway, so we'll be giving away something in just a little bit.
Not enough murky.
Did we talk about the amount of Dahaka play, Sex?
No, but he was really excited about it.
Yeah, I was really excited about it. And I knew they were going to be sitting on a pocket strat. I thought it was going to be Gul'dan. And we did see some Gul'dan pick, but everybody was picking Dahaka. Mm-hmm. And once again, that global presence is incredibly strong. It's way too strong. And it was nice. It was nice to see that global strats are still powerful and widely accepted, especially on big maps. So you saw Dahaka either banned or picked almost exclusively on Warhead and Cursed and several other maps, and I enjoyed it. I loved watching it.
You bringing up Dahaka just made me think of something that Willie's going to enjoy. Dahaka's grab dragging someone into Rag's lava wave so they can't escape it.
Oh, you remember that time I drugged somebody into a Gazlo stun, don't you?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
I can just picture that being a thing for you.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's definitely going to be a thing for me.
There were so many tanks drafted. There were double tank teams. There were triple tank teams.
Yeah, it was.
There were a
was
lot of
definitely
tanks.
a very tank heavy meta for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, they were even full tanks, right? I mean, they'd occasionally draft like a Sonya, but there was a lot of like ETC stitches.
Yeah,
Do you
Yeah.
think Varian will have an effect on that since he's dual
Yes.
spec?
Yeah.
for sure.
Yes.
Because if he, like I was kind of saying earlier, if he's first pick on one team, the other team has to go, okay, are they going to play him tank or are they going to play him assassin? Do
Well,
we draft
yeah.
a tank now?
He can be played bruiser too, as well as the thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, he can be a tank, which will completely shut down your melees because he has a taunt. He can have a leap that gives vulnerability, just blow somebody up. How do you draft around that, man?
Yeah, you're kind of like, your mind's just, I can't think of a term that's family friendly for that.
Blown.
Yeah, your mind's blown.
Like exploded.
Yeah, when you're trying to draft against it, because you could go, okay, well, we'll draft ETC because they have their tank and we feel more comfortable with ETC. Then they draft Muradin, and it's like, crap, should we ban Muradin? Do we ban Muradin? Do they already have their tank? Should we draft, Illidan here? Is he going to play their Illidan? There's just, it's going to be so hard when he's first picked to draft against, so that's what I'm really excited for there. He the one thing I do want to say too about the championship too, Zero Panda did very good. They just ran into a buzzsaw with Fnatic, who was on fire, but Zero Panda looked really good. They were the only team on day one to make it a 3-game set. It was an exciting series, and it's probably one of the more underrated series. So go ahead and watch that because that was pretty good.
Yeah, I was able to watch that series in person as well, and it was really solid. So definitely check that out if you didn't get a chance. But I think that's going to bring our episode to a close. We are going to do a giveaway, though, right now for Kaijo Diablo. We are going to go ahead and open that right now. Hit ! Raffle to enter yourself into that. Make sure you're following the channel as well, the BlizzPro Twitch channel. And we'll be giving that away in just a few minutes. But as always, check out heroesofthestorm.blizzpro.com. We have tons of articles on there about BlizzCon. If you missed anything we talked about tonight, it is all on there, as well as the videos covering all of the Heroes of the Storm content that was announced at BlizzCon. And as always, check out our YouTube where the show goes for later viewing, youtube.com/BlizzPro. Our show is there, as well as all the other great podcasts on the BlizzPro network. Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Pacific is Westmark Workshop. I'm sure they have a ton of stuff to talk about with the announcements for Diablo 3. Thursdays at 7 Pacific is the other show that I'm on, Payload Podcast, bringing you all the Overwatch news. And Sundays, as always, is the Well Met Podcast, bringing you Hearthstone news at 7 Pacific as well. Make sure to check us out on Discord, discord.blizzpro.com. A lot of us just hang out in there and talk about Blizzard games all throughout the day, all throughout the week. So make sure to check that out. And we will actually be playing some after show games right after the show here. But let's go ahead and do this raffle. Let's give you 30 seconds to get in there, ! Raffle. And we'll be giving that away in just a moment. Charlie, any closing thoughts on Heroes or anything?
I just think it's a good time to be playing. Variant's going to be here next week. There's a lot of changes coming down the pike really soon that are just going to keep making the game better. They show no signs of slowing down, of making heroes, making adjustments. It's been a good year. It's been a really good year from last BlizzCon, and I'm playing more now than I have in a long time because of all these changes, and I hope they keep it going. Everything seems to be pointing in the right direction, though. It's easy to forget how young this game is compared to the other major MOBAs, and to see it grow this much in a year's time is very exciting.
Yeah. Willie, how about you? How's your hero challenge going?
I got a few more heroes mastered. I believe I got ETC, Jaina, and Lily out of the way, which finally unlocked my first portrait for mastering heroes, Chen and Lily, which I promptly set the Storm Stout picture to, and I don't plan on switching it back at any point anytime soon. I started on Illidan, but I had some dailies I had to get out of the way, which was support and a StarCraft. So I just started playing Morales, and she kind of took over at that point. Oops. kind of broke my own rule there for a minute.
Oops.
But like Illidan's going to be really hard to do solo.
Yeah,
like, you
most
kind of
definitely.
need to you kind of need to have a coordinated team behind you when you play Illidan. Otherwise, like your teammates have zero idea what you're going to do,
Yeah, for sure.
and that's not a happy
yeah.
Illidan time.
No, it is not. Artifice, how about you?
Closing thoughts. I'm just excited for all the games, like not just Heroes. I thought this BlizzCon was one of the best that I've been to, and I've been to 4. The atmosphere was really good. All of the updates are really good. The options for upcoming things and the possibilities, it's a very exciting time to be playing. And the crowd was really nice. The podcast panels and everything. It was a lot of fun, and it kind of revamped my love of playing the game.
Yeah, I'm most definitely same here. I mean, all the stuff they announced was really great, and I'm really excited for the future of the game. Carl, any closing thoughts?
Nothing that hasn't really been said already. I was really happy with the BlizzCon announcements. I'm going to be sad for the next couple months. Well, there's no esports, but 2017 will be great.
Qualifiers should be starting up soon, I think. So
Are
we'll
they?
have
Okay.
that to at least watch, I think. But before we go, we're going to announce our winner of our drawing here for the Kaijo Diablo skin. You get Diablo if you don't already own him, and the Kaijo Diablo skin. It is going to be Sugar Hots. Congratulations for winning the bundle there. We'll get that to you by private message from my personal Twitch account in just a little bit. So keep an eye out for that, and make sure to join in game the BlizzPro channel / join BlizzPro, and we'll play our Aram games right after this. Thank you once again for episode 80, number 81 of the Heroes Power. Stay tight, and we'll see you in the Nexus.